In dollars and cents, the most recent forecast shows California's unemployment insurance fund is at a $20 billion deficit. Now, if the state does not pay back the money to the federal government, it could fall on employers to pay it back. ABC 10's Morgan Rynor covers all things politics and is here now to break it all down for us. Morgan.
Chris, essentially what this deficit means is that the state is paying out too much in unemployment checks and employers are not putting enough into the reserves. So the state is borrowing money from the federal government to make sure people are still getting paid. The question is, what's going to happen if the feds want their money back?
Dan Walters is a reporter with Cal Matters. He's been covering state politics and the uninsurance fund for 4 decades. He said 20 years ago, the state had a huge unemployment surplus tucked away.
The governor at the time, Gray Davis, and the legislature decided just to increase unemployment insurance benefits, which drew down the reserve. And then when the last recession hit in 2007, the state didn't have reserves to cover it and had to borrow from the federal government.
It took employers nearly a decade to pay back $10 billion in extra taxes. Leading up to the pandemic, the state still hadn't built up its reserves. Walters said it was collecting $5 billion from employers every year and dishing out $5 billion.
In fact, the federal government, which charts such things, said it had the worst reserves of any state in the United States.
So when the pandemic hit and millions of Californians lost their jobs, it was time to borrow money from the federal government again.
So when it does not repay the debt, the federal government comes in and taxes employers directly to pay for the debt.
That's why California's Taxpayers Association is calling on the governor and legislature to take responsibility.
It was not because employers were doing the wrong thing. It's because they had to close down to do the right thing to try and stop the pandemic. So we are saying it should be a state shared responsibility to now pay off the debt to the federal government so that employment taxes don't go up. What we are asking is not just some sort of bailout for employers, it's to protect the jobs, job creation and the business climate in California.
David Klein with the Taxpayers Association, who you just heard from, said his team met with the governor's office and he's hopeful that when the next budget comes out in January, this will be included in it. I reached out to the governor's office for comment this afternoon. So far, I have not heard back yet.
Of course, stay with us for updates and that story online at abc10.com as well as on air. Morgan, thank you.